Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Rainer and this is Rainier Books all the way from Sweden in Northern Europe. Today I have a TBR for you, a book haul, my current TBR, the 10 books and maybe even 10 recommendations that I want to read, the 10 books that I want to read in the next couple of weeks, who knows. But the 10 books that I'm currently reading or want to read over the course of the next weeks. Most of them are from the beautiful Stockholm library. I often do PR for the library here in Stockholm. We have a great system. The Central Library, if you come to Stockholm as a tourist, is a sightseeing gem. But the Central Library is closed for 3 years right now. It will be renovated, but there are lots of other branches. But before you click next, let's start with the books. The first two are so-called short-term loans for only 2 weeks because there's such high demand of other readers who want to read this book so desperately. I have finished in the early morning hours. I delivered a single review. I finished this book, The Safety by Yael van der Walden, which made the shortlist of the Booker Prize last year and also the long list of the Women's Prize this year. Yael is an Israeli-Dutch author who wrote her debut novel in English, and it takes us to Holland in 1961, where a woman named Isabel is living alone in the house where she and her brothers grew up. Her mom died just a few months ago, and she lives very disclosed, very isolated, and I would say she has clear signs maybe of the spectrum and problems in social relations. But then in comes Eva, the girlfriend of her brother Louis, who has to attend some conference, I think in Brighton in England, for a month, and everything changes. The whole setup changes. Immersive, smart written, strong characters, and sexy. I really like the book. Watch the review. I put it down in the comments down below. I'll put the link down below. Once I have finished The Safekeep, I need to quickly, actually today, continue with Rejection, a collection of connected and intertwined stories by Tony Tulavi-Moody. 2 weeks for this book as well, and here we have the comic tragedies of sex, relationships, identity, and the internet in 7 stories. I heard nothing but good things about this one, and I'm looking forward to it. Everything else is not in such high demand, and I might even be able to extend the loans, so I'm hopeful to be able to finish the books that I mentioned now. A short novel by the Scottish publisher Charco Press that has specialized, as you might know, in Latin American literature is Selva Almada's Not a River, translated by Annie McDermott from the Spanish. Almada is an Argentinian author who lets 3 men go down to the river, and fish and forget about the ghosts of their past. Violence is looming around the corner. Will something bad happen? I don't know. I have rarely seen evil in as pure a form as Yoel Roth, and Kara Swisher's heart is filled with seething hate. I regard their dislike of me as a compliment. Who said that? Who can say such strange things? That's, of course, Elon Musk, the head of Doge, about the American tech journalist Kara Swisher. Her memoir, which I have here, is called Burn Book, a tech love story. And I, who have never heard of Swisher before, got interested when I accidentally listened to a podcast with her some weeks ago. Tech is now in large numbers behind the transformation of American democracy and American kleptocracy and authoritarianism, so I want to learn from Swisher about the tech industry. Rebecca Nagle is nominated for the Women's Prize for Nonfiction this year with By the Fire We Carry, the generations-long fight for justice on native land. This book starts when Rebecca Nagle hears about a Muskogee man sentenced to death for the murder of another Muskogee man, and his attorney filing a complaint against the death penalty because he claims that the murder was committed on native lands, on stolen Muskogee land in Oklahoma, where the death penalty would be not applicable. The case is finally ruled by the Supreme Court, which declares the death penalty in that case is illegal since the land is Muskogee land. From that on, Nagle tells the story of her people and also other indigenous tribes who live in Oklahoma and their struggle with American justice, with their century-long lasting fight for justice for the land that was stolen from them. From the long list of the Edgar Award, I got this one, and it's yellow, one of my favorite colors. Listen for the Lie by Amy Tintera, a young adult author who makes her adult debut with this novel. Two Texan girls, best friends many years ago. One of the girls gets murdered, the other one becomes the main suspect, at least in the beginning. But what is true? The case is never solved. Has she killed her friend? Yellow cover and hopefully an exciting debut. We stay at the Edgars here. Things Don't Break on Their Own by Sarah Easter Collins is another nominee. Leica Mortonwood, what a beautiful name, disappeared on her way to school 25 years ago. Her sister Willa still believes that Leica is alive and has never given up that thought. She sees her more or less everywhere and each and every day. And then at a dinner party that she attends, one of the guests says something that changes everything. Sounds like a Harlan Coben plot, actually. Recently, I read and reviewed Rachel Kushner's Creation Lake, which is not a spy novel. In an interview with Kushner that I saw, she said that she had read the French crime author Jean-Patrick Manchet's whole oeuvre during one summer, and that there might be a bit of Manchet in Creation Lake. Manchet is an author who was inspired by the great authors Raymond Chandler and Dashiell Hammett in the United States. The graphic novel that I have here, the author Tardy has looked at Manchet's books and created Streets of Paris, Streets of Murder, and that was the only one that I could get from the library to follow the Kushner trail of Manchet. And finally, to the books from the shelves that I took, 2 are in the current 10 books TBR that I have. One of my favorite authors since I read Mr. Wilder and Me, a book that I loved. I loved every book of him. Middle England, Bourneville, is Jonathan Coe. His latest novel is The Proof of My Innocence. Like few others, Jonathan Coe is a chronicler of contemporary English history who's both extremely good in plotting and character description, but also highly entertaining. And what's wrong with that? In his new book, Jonathan Coe plays with different genres and gives us a protagonist named Phil, who lives with her parents and works at Terminal 5 at Heathrow Airport in an Asian restaurant. I think I've been there, actually. Coe chose the 7 weeks of Liz Truss as British Prime Minister beginning in September 22 for this book, but it goes back and forth in time as usual with Coe. Finally, probably a project that might take longer, but I want to get into it soon, and sooner is Ned Blackhawk's The Rediscovery of America, which tries to contribute to a new history of the United States that does not start with Christopher Columbus, but with all the First Nations who already had lived for thousands of years on the continent that after then was called America. Especially in our time, when the current American government, the current American administration wants to erase and to whiten the history, it is important to get educated and see things as they are and as they have been. I don't know if I make it through all of these 10 books in the next couple of weeks and before maybe an 11th or 12th or 13th book shows up, and tries to hush away some of the others, but I will try. Thank you for watching this video. I hope to see you soon again, and bye-bye.